So today we are going to take a look at Hawk and Dove. So let's get this party started. Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. So with the Birds of Prey DLC coming up, and also with the Valentine's seasonal just around the corner, I thought a Hawk and Dove video would be appropriate. Just a side note about the Valentine's seasonal. The Valentine's seasonal was supposed to start tomorrow, February 7th, basically Friday, but it's going to start next Monday instead. It's going to start February 10th instead. From what I understand, there was still some issues they needed to fix, so in order to be able to patch it up properly, it's been pushed back to next Monday as opposed to starting tomorrow, Friday. So let's take a look at our friend Hawk and Dove, and I'll talk a bit about the characters in a bit, how I discovered the characters and all that. So here you can see you can create a pretty darn good version of our friend Hawk. It's not exactly 100% it, but it's pretty darn close. It's as close as I was able to get so far. I guess I could probably have used some sort of shoulders to try to give him some sort of spikes on the shoulders or something, but I actually thought it looked more accurate this way. In case you're wondering, in this case I'm using the Red Metallic Chroma 1, Red Metallic Chroma 2, and the Red Metallic material. For the headpiece, the half-wing headpiece is what I used. I'm using the full domino mask because otherwise the character, we wouldn't see the eyes of the character properly. For the back piece, the Amazon Strategos actually gave us, Hawk had some sort of long red thingy in the back. It wasn't quite a cape, but this is about as close to what Hawk had as I was able to get to. For the chest piece, I went with the Protege chest piece. There's probably a few other chest pieces like the Chevron Slimline or the V Slimline, but because of the way the colors are separated with the material, the Protege chest piece was the better option. But if you do not use materials, there's a few other chest pieces that I'll show you in just a minute. For the hands, I went with the Amazon Strategos. It's not exactly like the gloves that Hawk was using, but I thought it gave this sort of almost feather motif that kind of worked well with the character. For the belt, Hawk didn't really have a belt. He had some sort of spiky motif around the waistline, but I couldn't really reproduce that with just the New Genesis pants, so the Rapture belt kind of works to create that effect. For the pants, obviously I went with the classic, the New Genesis pants. And for the boots, I've also used the Amazon Strategos. Again, it doesn't look exactly like Hawk, but I thought it kind of looked, give a nice style to the look. Obviously, if you don't have the material, you don't have to use the materials. But this is what it looks like without the materials. It still looks really, really nice. Although there is a texture on the gloves and on the boots that looks much better if you use the material, sadly. And I'm not using the face mask. If we don't have the materials, the eyes of the character are fine. But sadly, when we use a material, the eyes are a bit messed up. So if you use a material, you may have to use a face mask. You decide. And if you're not using the materials, you could use the Chevron chest piece instead of the Protege chest piece. Or you could use the V-suit chest piece. Another option, I guess, would be to use the white neon chroma material. But there's two things about that. The first thing is that it's freaking difficult to get. And also it's not exactly it, so it's not bad, but not sure I would go with that look. But again, you can see the result. You decide if you think it's worth it. And next we have the original Dove, which sadly died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Originally, the dynamic of the Hawk and Dove was there were two brothers who had different points of view, let's say. But they killed the original Dove in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and when they decided to relaunch the characters with a new miniseries Hawk and Dove, they had to create a new Dove character, seeing how the original Dove was a little dead. I'm using a lot of the same styles as with Hawk. The distinction is that the chest piece here is the reverse slimline. The belt, the Dove didn't really have a belt like that, but I thought this belt was kind of neat. The belt is the Dystopian Amazon belt. And the back piece is the Shaman back piece. It's not exactly the kind of cape that Dove had. Like Dove had a short little cape that had like some sort of a feather pattern around the cape. Within the context of DC Universe Online, this is about as close as I was able to get to the cape that Dove was wearing. And again, for the gloves, I'm pretty much using the same gloves as with Hawk. Although here for the boots, I went with the Stalwart Defender boots. You can't really go wrong with the Stalwart Defender boots. And of course, the new Genesis pants. You have to use those if you want to have the short shorts on the outside of your character. For the material, I'm using the Caregiver's Chroma material. They're pretty perfect for that character. It's a free gift we got in DCUO some time ago. Of course, you could go with the blue metallic chroma if you have it. It doesn't work as well as the caregiver chroma, but it works well enough. The caregiver chroma works much better. It works better with the white being white as opposed to being grayish metallic like it is now. But both options are pretty good for your character. Of course, you can create your friend Dove without any material if you want to. Sadly, as you can see, there is some texture on the gloves. There's some texture on the belt too. But it would work well enough to create your friend Dove. An option to make the gloves and the belt white, or even the back piece for that matter, would be to use the opalescent material. So the opalescent material would be a good option to be able to get some white gloves, and the same for the boots and the cape. And also I gave it a lighter blue. The blue I had was maybe a little too dark for our friend Dove. So if you're willing to get the opalescent material, it would be perfect to tweak the look of the character a bit. But you don't have to. You could go without any material if you don't have any. And then, as I mentioned, our friend Dove sadly was killed in Crisis on Infinite Earths. And then when they relaunched the character, when they launched the miniseries Hawk and Dove, they created a new Dove, which was a female version of our friend Dove. And instead of playing the broader angle in that series, at first they didn't really play the potential lover angle, but it's something that came along during the ongoing series. So as you can see, you can create a pretty darn good version of our friend Dove. And I was a big fan of Hawk and Dove. I remember having a lot of fun reading that first mini-series. And then the ongoing series, I guess I was the perfect age for that ongoing series. I was starting college, so I kind of could relate to the characters who were pretty much the same age I was at the time. So it was a perfect series for me way back when. So again, for our friend Dove, I went with the Caregiver's Chroma. Sadly, it was a free gift we got last fall in DCUO. For the headpiece, I went with the Defiant Crusader. For the face, the Catwoman face is perfect to give the big wide eyes that Dove had. Again, for the back piece, the Shaman back piece gave us like that tiny little cape that Dove had. It doesn't look exactly like it, but it's close enough. Or within the context of DC Universe Online, it's about as close as I could get. So for the chest piece, I went with the Protege chest piece. But again, the Chevron Slimline or the V-suit would probably do the trick. For the hands, the Amazon Strategos. I didn't use it for the waist in this case. In this case, I went with no belt at all. For the pants, I went with the net. It's a style you could get from a marketplace, but from what I understand, they made a few changes to the marketplace, so some of the styles are no longer there. If you don't have the net, I guess you could go with the new Genesis pants. Not quite the same. I kind of prefer the net, but you decide. And the boot, again, I went with the Amazon Strategos. And for the hair, I'm using the Bombshell Supergirl hair. And of course, if you don't have the material, the Caregiver's Chroma material, then you can go with no material. It's not quite the same. Again, you can see there's some textures in the glove. There's also some textures on the glasses, like the part that should be white has like sadly a gray tint to it. The same with the boots. Sadly, within the context of DC Universe Online, sometimes you have to take the less bad option to be able to create a look that you want for your character. And again, with this character, I don't have that many materials, so it's either, in this case, it's either the Caregiver's Chroma or no materials. So with the new DLC Birds of Prey, our friends Hawk and Dove will be included in the DLC. Some people are hoping that maybe we'll get a Hawk and Dove set of gear in the Birds of Prey DLC. Sadly, at this point in time, We're gonna have to wait and see what style we do get in that DLC. Some people have been speculating that we would be getting a Black Canary DLC. Again, at this point, we don't have all that much information, but we do know that our friends Hawk and Dove will be included in the DLC. I'm a big fan of those characters, so that part of news alone made me very happy when we learned about the DLC. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask so in the comment section down below, and I'll see what I can do about answering your questions. I made roughly 2,000 videos about DC Universe Online at this point, so if you do have a question and I don't answer your question right away, just search in my videos. Odds are I've already made a video that answers your question. And that's pretty much it for now, guys. So as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.